Hey guys, it's Nick from Long on the Wargaming, and as you can tell, I am driving. I'm going to take a play out of Johnny Crass's playbook and spend my 30 minutes discussing Warhammer stuff. So I figured I would go ahead and use this downtime, if you can call it that, to go over some Skaven stuff for my All Things Skaven series. So I think we'll do some giant rats today. I just want to finish up the core stuff, the core units. And giant rats are pretty cool. And I apologize if I get any points or anything wrong because, as you can tell, don't have my book in front of me. So giant rats, they are a core unit, but they do not count towards your core requirement. So you can't just mass them and only bring them. They are 3 points apiece, which is pretty awesome, and I'm pretty sure you're getting a weapon skill 3, strength 3 attack, and you're sitting on toughness 3, which is, not bad. Of course, they have no equipment, no armor, no nothing, and that makes them very vulnerable. But for 3 points, you get a nice little, attack per model, and each model also has initiative 4, I believe. And, that means most of the time they'll be matching initiative or hopefully beating it, depending on what armies you play against. Now, they're movement 6, so they're pretty quick. You can get them where you need to get them. One of their things is their leadership, which I'm pretty sure is leadership 5, which isn't great. Now, the FAQ has fixed them in terms of they don't have strength in numbers, the actual giant rats. Now, the pack masters, which I haven't spoken about yet, are the guys that sit in the back, or at least they should sit in the back, with whips and prods, mushing these guys along. Now, their leadership is, actually, I don't think the rats' leadership is 5. Don't quote me on that. It's the pack masters, which are leadership 5. The giant rats themselves might be leadership 2 or something crappy like that. I usually don't even roll rat leadership because most of the times they're within general inspiring presence range, or I just don't let my pack masters die. I try not to let them die. They shouldn't die. Then you've wasted the unit. But with the pack master leadership, it is 5, and then as long as you have, I'm watching a couple literally standing on the street fighting, and it looks like they're about to go at it. With their strength in numbers, if you have 3 ranks of giant rats, that's leadership 8, which is great. Usually you want to get your general leadership of 7 in there, so with your leadership plus 3, they're sitting on leadership 10. So, yeah, the pack masters are 8 points apiece. They sit in the back, which is cool, so they don't get killed. Now, they can get killed by random fire, so you want to make sure you have enough of them. There is a maximum amount you could have per giant rat. I believe that is 1 pack master for every 5 giant rats that you have. These guys are such chaffy units. There are 3 different ways that I like to field them, and I'll get into that in a second. But let's discuss a little bit about the champion option, which in 7th edition was great, and the way I read and perceive the rules, nor have I found anything in the FAQ that corrects this, but the FAQ says all champion models must be in the front rank. So if you upgrade a Packmaster that originally cost 8 points, for an additional 25 points, I believe it is, you can upgrade him to a Master Molder. So he's really not a 25-point model. He is a 33-point model. He's got some extra weapon skill, some extra strength that you can actually use now since he's in the front rank. The thing is, though, he's in the front rank and you're paying for his leadership, essentially. So if you have these guys out on a flank somewhere, you've got his leadership of 6, plus the 3 for strength and numbers, so leadership 9. He's so easy to get killed, though, in combat, because he's just sitting up the front there with, I don't know, maybe heavy armor, probably light armor, probably toughness 3, I don't know. It just sucks, Master Molders having to be in the front. But, oh well. Let me move on to the three types of ways I like to field and use these guys in various different situations or opponents. The first one, and I call this one the rat dart, which is a terminology I think I read up on Warseer originally, but I mean I've seen people use it to describe it. It's taking the minimum requirement of the giant rat unit, which is just 3 giant rats and a packmaster. And oh, I should back up. The giant rats have this wave of attacks special rule, which essentially allows them to attack in extra ranks like a spear, even on the turn that they don't charge. So they essentially always attack in 3 ranks with your supporting attacks. Now, the FAQ has corrected it to use the terminology fight in extra ranks. It used to just be the second wave of guys got to attack, so if you got Frenzy on the unit, then the second rank was getting that extra attack. So if you got poison attacks because you have the special character that buffs them, then awesome. Then both, well, I'm sorry, not poison attacks, the +1 attack, the second rank would get it. So it's just all these benefits from the second rank getting multiple attacks that you can't really get anymore, because you're going to max out with your only 1 attack for the additional ranks. But if you look at it like this, a Horde allows you to attack in 4 ranks. Not bad. And is a Horde of giant rats expensive? Not at all. Not one bit. So going back to the 3 ways that I like to field this unit, the rat dart, which is 23 points, I believe. It's the 5 guys at 3, and then the packmaster for 8 points. And you field them in a little dart formation, which is 3, 2, 2, and 2. And the packmaster has a whip, so he can attack from the back rank anyway, so you can get all 6 attacks in. Now, the purpose of the rat dart is to out-deploy your enemy, because in most cases with Skaven, your hammer units need to be where they need to be, otherwise you're screwed because your rats, any type of rat, just sucks. So you want to make sure that you can out-deploy your enemy, and these 23-point units are, units that you're going to just want to drop a couple first and then put some in a tactical position. It's like dropping all your 30-point war dog units or any other chaffy stuff, just the way you can just know where your enemy's going to be deploying. Now, the second purpose of these are to essentially get in the way or to redirect the enemy. Now, I recently have been playing Chris, who plays a lot of orcs and goblins, or he only plays orcs and goblins right now. And every orcs and goblins player right now brings that giant, stupid unit of savage orcs. Now, Frenzied, great. I'm going to dart up this little unit that moves at 12 a turn, which is great. Put it in a silly position where he's got to charge him and then face an awkward direction and has to overrun, and then just send him out to the middle of nowhere, which is great. Now, of course he has to overrun if he charges them. If he decides to not charge them, then that's fine. I don't want savage orcs in combat because I hate them. They're too good. They've got high statistics in terms of weapon skill 4, strength 5 in the first turn, lots of attacks, like, I don't know, 50 attacks if you have the entire horde touching the front of the unit. It's, I don't know, they're just annoying. So if he's going to sit there and try to cast magic or do something else to take care of them, alright, fine. That just gives me extra turns to take care of all the other crap that's on the field. So redirecting and getting in the way. Now, I've only really had multiple successes with redirecting when the opponent is frenzied. Of course, you can do it against all other stuff, but you kill everything in combat and that's it. Everything's gone. Then you just combat reform. If you don't kill all the rats, which is very hard to do, then fine. You have to take a reform test or a restraint test or whatever it's called, and then combat reform to face a more optimal direction. But when you're fighting your frenzied orcs or your corn warriors, I mean, it happens to me all the time. My Juggernaut cavalry are off elsewhere because they're chasing stupid stuff. This is what you're going to use them against. You're going to use them against those cheap, not cheap, the frenzied troops that you can just kind of bait around. So the rat dart is very useful. The third purpose of it is if it's still around, turn 3 or 4, go send it after some war machines or some characters that are running around on foot, because they're fast. They move quick. I mean, their leadership sucks, so being able to march might not be an option, but I mean, whatever. They're 23 points. You've already got purpose 1, which is out deploying your enemy. So purpose 3 and purpose 2 depend on the game, depend on the opponent. So yeah. Now the second way I like to deploy them, which I don't do often enough, just because I haven't been playing other chaffy armies, although orcs and goblins do have some cheap stuff. For the most part, Chris likes to do big blocks, and is like the unit of, like, I don't know, anywhere from 10 to 20. And when I say 10 to 20, I'm including the Packmasters. But something cheap around the, I don't know, 70 point mark. There's a couple extra attacks in there. Now, this is good against trying to deal with maybe some war machines. I mean, dwarves are good in combat, so if you've got some dwarven war machines with an engineer and, you know, high toughness, high weapon skill, stubborn, and all this crap, sending a rat dart in isn't going to do anything. So getting a couple extra rats in there, great. You can go deal with some other stuff. Rat darts aren't great with dealing with other chaff units like Night Goblin Wolf Riders or War Dogs. So a good thing to maybe do is spend an equal amount of points on a rat unit, a giant rat unit, and then just destroy these fast cavalry crappy units. If you know what opponent you're playing, say orcs and goblins, and I don't know how many points a wolf rider is, but say you're taking 5, and it comes out to, oh dear, I don't even know. Alright, I know Marauder Horsemen. Let's say you're taking 5 of those guys, and I think they're like 12 or 13 points apiece. So, I don't know, let's say you're spending 60 points. Then you know what? Spend 60 points in giant rats, and their initiative is great, their weapon skill is decent, their strength is alright, so most of the time, fast cavalry, no matter what races they are, most of the time they're toughness 3, so you should be hitting on 4s, wounding on 4s, and if all fast cavalry is still alive, which is hopefully 5, well not hopefully, but if it is 5, you're going to get 5 giant rats in the front, 5 in the second rank, and then 5 in the third. So that's, of course, if you're not fighting Hellstriders that have initiative 5, and you're fighting some fast cavalry with with initiative 3, or even matching an initiative 4, great. 15 attacks, 4s to hit, 4s to wound. Yeah, they're going to have shields, or they're mounted, so they'll have a 5+ armor save. You should still be able to kill a bunch. You should. My phone's blinking. I don't know if that means I'm running out of space or not. I'm recording this on my iPhone, and I don't even know if it's going to be able to complete the video, because I'm probably just going to use up the entire freaking memory, because you can't put an SD card in, or a micro SD or anything to... whatever. Anyway, I digress. So that's the second way I like to field them. Third way is Horde formation. Just take 50 of them. Who cares? It's still going to be less than 200 points. Some people might not think it's worth it, but you know what? If you're fighting, say, I don't know, weapon skill 3 infantry that are toughness 3 and have lower initiative than the giant rats, and you just want to run something in and score a bunch of hits and not worry about it, giant rats are the way to go. In a horde formation, you get all 40 attacks in. I mean, I love fielding giant rats against undead armies, because if you've got weapon skill 3 and they've got weapon skill 2, you're hitting on 3s, and you're either wounding on 4s or maybe 5s, or if I think zombies have toughness 2, I don't know. If zombies have toughness 2, then you're wounding on 3s, which is great. How awesome is that? But that's not always the case. But throw them in, score some hits, do some wounds, awesome. I like to do this against undead because they're slowly going to regenerate their guys anyway, so let me throw some crappy stuff in there, score a bunch of hits, score a bunch of wounds, knock out a couple guys, and then get the better stuff in later. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe some people would say just get the good stuff in now and don't give them an opportunity to regenerate their units. I don't know. Maybe that's a different way to look at it. But for less than 200 points, you're going to get a horde of giant rats that is quick, and they just get a lot of attacks. Of course, if you're fighting other hordes. If you're not fighting other hordes, then don't bring this giant, long unit that you're not going to be able to execute properly. It'll be a waste of points. Going back to the second way I field them, where I just do, 15 or 20, depending on what army you're playing, it may be useful to have them out on the flanks somewhere for the purpose of flanking. So you're going up against some Empire infantry that aren't going to be buffed by any spells or warrior priests or those silly chariot things that they have. Flanking, you don't get your parry saves and whatnot, you don't get extra attacks, so you know what, if you've got some clan rats fighting some infantry, and it's going down a grind fest, and you need some extra combat res, cool. Flank charge them. This way, you've got about 20 guys, you're going to get about 15 to 20 attacks in, which is great. Hopefully, the Empire player's not getting more than 5 attacks back, 6 attacks back, if it's a huge unit. And what will happen is, there you go, you knocked out their ranks. Now, they still get stubborn, which I never really understood that. So you still have steadfast, which is cool. But you're able to knock out their rank bonus, so they're not getting that +3 rank bonus. And then they will be, you'll get +1 for charging, +1 for flank charge, and now your ranks are worth more. So that charge could be worth, I don't know, 9 extra combat res when you look at it. Depending on how well your clan rats or storm vermin or plague monks are doing, and depending on how crappy this Empire unit is. But I'm just using that as an example. It's just a nice, easy way to get a flank charge in because with... I'm gonna lose you. Alright. More traffic. With movement 6, I mean, there's a good chance you're gonna get that charge in. Yeah. So, that is the 3 ways I like to field them. What else about giant rats? I really wish I had my book in front of me, but then I could get into a car accident. Squeal Gnawtooth is a decent upgrade for them. I know I spoke about that in the video for the special characters. I think he is alright for 100 points. Now, the fact that the champions have to be in the front, or heroes have to be in the front rank, just makes them more likely to be killed. And I like, the points that somebody else brought up on 1 or 2 of the other videos is, that's great and all, but, look at the model. He's got this huge whip that should, essentially be long enough to go over, 2 to 3 ranks of giant rats, and now you have to put him in the front rank. This way, when your inconsiderate opponent at a tournament just rushes forward his pewter infantry models, they just break the front of Squeal Gnawtooth's warp whip. Yeah, but anyway, 100 points. Now, I don't know if he is... he might be an upgrade to a Packmaster, so he's not 100 points, he might be 108 points. I'd have to double check that, but silly. But the ability to give your giant rat unit one of these 3 options. Regen, awesome. So now your freaking giant rats that are shit are now saving half of them. +1 attack. Cool. Not as good as when you used to have the wave of rats special rule, where the second rank got to attack. Then you had 4 attacks for each model in the front instead of just 2, and then the second rank being 1 attack like it is now. Or poison attacks. Alright, poison I can work with. I mean, that's decent, especially if you're going up against T4 stuff. You have so many roles. Of course, if I'm bringing Squeal, I'm bringing him in a freaking horde of giant rats. So you're going to get a crap load of attacks, and all your rolls of 6 to hit, automatically wound, bam, awesome. Statistics, great. If it's T4, T5 stuff, awesome, who cares? You're getting some wounds through. But I don't like to put those guys in the front, so I don't purchase him. Nor do I really use special characters that often. And I don't know. It's 100 points. I could just get 100 points of something else. I mean, some armies, yeah, you try to make a Warriors of Chaos army 100 points. What the hell are you gonna put down? 5 warriors? In a Skaven army, 100 points. That's another 50 slaves. I mean, I'd rather just get 50 slaves down than maybe get a good roll on his chart that helps out the unit. But yeah. Any other ideas or anything else? If anyone has any comments on giant rats, whether they've had good experiences, bad experiences, please comment below. I'd love to hear. I usually bring these guys at least for the rat dart formation. I haven't been bringing hordes of them a lot lately because playing orcs and goblins, I just haven't seen it as efficient opposed to when I'm playing, I don't know, Empire, where I could just throw it in and get a whole bunch of attacks and hopefully kill some guys. So, but yeah, I don't think I missed anything else. And if I did, I'll probably edit it into the end of the video. But at this point, it's already 22 minutes, which is pretty long. So, thanks for watching, guys, and maybe I'll do another video on this long trafficy day. Thanks.